What's up? So, as you can see, different day, different time, as I mentioned in the other part of this video, the vlog part of it, that, like I said, I get busy, sometimes I can't reopen a video to work on it or even film the rest of it like this one is. It was a bit longer, so, but here it is. This is going to be talking about the series that I'm going to be going into. I'll be making a few of these, but the first, a little mini-series or series within the main topic, which is basically the whole point of what I'm going to be getting into, is sharing information that I've learned, and trying to encourage you to think, to analytically think about life, things that you know, what you're told, all kinds of stuff. Because the reality is, there's a lot of deception that I've discovered out there in my life, and there's just a lot of alternative thinking that, for whatever reason, isn't shared as freely. There's a lot of money involved, obviously, and greed. So a lot of things are covered up or hidden, but the point is, I'm a firm believer of learning all sides, all aspects, and then you yourself, so me, using my judgment, my mental capacity for logic and reasoning, which is what I think is one of the most important tools that a human being has at their disposal to discover what they should do, what they should think, truth, and their way through life. It's what develops their moral compass. So, for example, I have my own moral compass. Now, what I may think is wrong or right may not be exactly what somebody else thinks is wrong or right, or in fact, it might even be the opposite of what someone believes to be right and wrong. And that's just because, based upon my beliefs and what I view as my path, I created my moral compass, and that's what guides me through life, essentially. That's where my conscience, in a sense, could work from. So, going into that, I want to touch on, again, why I'm doing this. So, I'm going to be getting into more of the medical field, medical practices and health practices today that are honestly not exactly, from what I've seen, the best way of doing things, or even honest at all. And some of them, I think, are horrible to do. And there's a lot of studies, their own studies, I mean the medical field studies, today's medical practices and medical science, their own studies show that what they're doing isn't even the best method. And you can really see that when you read the warning labels on drugs, for example. Depression pills usually cause depression or suicidal thoughts. So that's just kind of stupid. Like, why would you take something that could possibly make you worse off instead of figuring out why you're depressed? Where is the deficiency in your body? Because every human body the natural state isn't out of whack. That's just not how our bodies work. Our natural state is in line. Our hormonal imbalances is there naturally. What happens through environment and what we take in, what we eat, and through stress, and how we deal with stress as well, is what throws that out of whack. And what I've learned through life is that everything has a reason. And that doctors really don't try to look for that reason. They cover the symptom, they just cover it up and call it good. But usually those pills will actually cause more symptoms, so then they'll give you more pills in order to help with that. Like insomnia sometimes is one of the things that is caused from a lot of pills. And so they give you sleeping pills, which then sleeping pills fuck with so much, because then you're not actually getting into an appropriate REM state. You might be passed out, but essentially you're knocked out. You're not really getting a sleep, which causes more stress onto your body. And that's just a small, example. But again, I'm not going to get into too many in-depth things. This is kind of an introduction to everything, so I'm just going to be speaking about that. And this first little thing that I'm going to be doing, though, is going to speak about cancer. I think it's a perfect spot to start because it has so much to do with your immune system, so much to do with your health and life practices, your overall well-being. It has a lot to do with what you're eating. It has a lot to do with what you might be taking and what actually doctors are doing wrong. And it's just big and it's scary. And I want to show that it's really not as big and scary as I once thought, and as a lot of people think, and kind of why. I mean, there's a lot of advertisement on it. It's in your face a lot. I mean, they have a whole month for it. So it's really a lot of advertisement on it, and it's actually a really big moneymaker for the medical industry. And it talks a little bit about history too, kind of where that started. There used to be a lot of schools and different practices openly available for college kids, that you can go into and have a degree in. But a lot of those are outlawed in America, and actually a lot of treatments are outlawed in America because they, in my opinion, they work. That's what I've noticed. You don't get money when people aren't coming back. You don't spread fear and confusion and when people are getting fixed. You want someone to be in a constant mental fog. You want somebody to constantly be sick. You want to be able to constantly hand somebody this magical pill so that they keep coming back to you instead of just fixing it. So that is what I believe. You can say that's bullshit. I might get whatever kind of crap, but what I'm trying to do is really encourage you to look into it. Because if you don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. Because even if you do agree with me, I highly suggest look into it for yourself. Don't just take my word for it, and don't just speak against me because if you don't really understand, and even if you think you do, just calm down, because I notice a lot of times people will get upset when this information comes out, and if you find yourself being upset, that means you're defensive for some reason. When this information really has little to do with you, and looking into another opinion really has little to do with you, it doesn't physically hurt you, it doesn't do anything. In fact, it just opens your brain, and then you could decipher for yourself based upon all the information whether one side is right or not. But you don't know unless you have all the information, right? So that's also a constant search. Is sometimes what I may be, or what someone might find as truth today, may be proven differently later, but based upon new variables and new information, new studies, or just a new perspective to the whole thing. So that might happen as well. So this is going to be a growing period, and this is going to be something, so we're going to be learning along together, and in a sense, I have done a lot of extensive research behind this, so I'm going to share a lot of what I know. But the point is, I really want you guys to think. I don't want you to argue necessarily. I don't want you to like or dislike what I'm saying just because you think you agree with it. I really want you to think, and I'm just sharing an alternative viewpoint. And I'm sharing what I have researched and a lot of what I believe and a lot of what I actually practice myself. So one thing I'm super strong on is don't just regurgitate information. Really look into information in depth, both sides. And then for the things that you actually can, put them into practice. Try them. So for example, in bodybuilding, a lot of people say, oh, do this certain workout, it'll work. Or, oh, don't do that, your form's bad. Or blah, 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 Or bench press is bad for you or some stupid shit like that. Why don't you try it and see what happens to your body? Or why don't you really get into it and see? Or this is the best way to grow, Why don't you actually try that thing for an extended amount of time? Give something time to work. I put myself through a lot of that. And so I feel very confident on what I know. Especially with things that I've done to myself. And again, so the more I know, I learn, I learn that the less I know. Because I don't believe absolutes. I believe that I can use what I have in front of me to make a logical conclusion, and that's all I can get. Because in the end, there's so much information, and really the amount of knowledge in the world and the amount that we can know is such a small speck that you wouldn't even see it on a small piece of paper, because there's so much information out there. So that means there's a lot of room for error and a lot of room for change. But again, our God-given or naturally given ability to rationally think, logically think, and deduct or deduce information and to find, put things together and connect, and to cancel out and to add information based upon trial and error, is an amazing ability, and that's what I use. And that's what I highly, again, suggest you use. But I'm going to be getting into this. And I'm excited about it. And before I leave, because I'm coming to a close here, I want to bring to light a quote or a statement that I say at the end of most of, or I'm sorry, not the end, but in the description of most of my videos, which is information should always be honest and free of charge. And what I mean by that is something pretty big. So to be honest is, like I was saying, it should be to your best ability to your best knowledge, it should be what you believe is right. You shouldn't be doing it in a way to deceive or to withhold information to deceive or even to keep people coming back. I've noticed that happens. A lot of dietitians won't give their clients information because they want them to keep coming to them for their diet plans, and won't explain why they'll lose weight doing this, or why they'll gain size, or why this will help a certain symptom, which I think is horrible. It's not honest. And again, my morals different than other people's, but for me, it's kind of hits a spot that I don't like. Okay, and that's what I also mean by free of charge. So it should be honest to your best ability, and free of charge to where it should just be there. Now it's a different between. I'm going to give you my time. I'm going to research you in a sense. I'm going to get to know you, and I'm going to draw up a plan. Now, that's not information. That's work. I'm giving you my time. But if you were to ask me during that time, or if we were already talking about something, I'm not going to knowingly withhold information from you in order to deceive you into purchasing something else or wanting you to actually buy the program, actually, or some stupid shit like that. I won't even do that. In fact, even if I wrote a book, I would probably say, well, here's the best of my ability I can describe to you. If you want to know information, you can buy my book. If not, then there's other places you can look up. You can go online for free and all kinds of stuff. So I would give alternate things. And people, I feel like, respond positively to that either way. But just for me, that means a lot to be able to give that information. Because first of all, I love this stuff. I love fitness. I love health. I love even just seeking truth in every aspect. Religion, politics, just science. All of it is huge for me, and I love to share. I love to talk about it. So I don't really want to deceive people. I want everybody to grow, and I know that when people are better, that makes a better world for me. Because when there's a bunch of idiots, it's really hard to get what I want. And it really does. For me, this comes from a completely selfish place. Is I want people to do really good. I want people to learn as much as they can. I want people to be as successful as they can, so that I can be successful. Okay? So I'm not going to try to spew this altruistic bullshit because I'm not an altruist, and that is kind of where also morals may differ. I think altruism is ugly. I think to be a rational egotist is the best, most pure thing you can be, and in doing so, you have to take care of the people around you. You have to take care of your friends. You have to take care of the people you work for, and you have to see people make it in order for you, because if there's not, that means there's more opportunity, because the more successful people are, the more opportunity you have to work with somebody, the more things that are created that you can then take advantage of, right? So technology or even new information is discovered or anything, because I've noticed that everybody's got something to teach you. And if you try to hinder that knowledge or that interest to know, because maybe you're teaching them something you already know, but because of that, you sparked something in them, and then they go off, and then later on, they've created something that then you can use, So that's why I love it. And I love just seeing people grow. Like, it makes me feel good, especially me knowing I'm the one who did that. Me knowing, or not the one who did it, but the one who helped out that process for somebody, that growing process for somebody. That means a lot to me. And so that's why I really encourage giving information out, free of charge, without a deception background. I mean, sure, people can buy that information. Say, like I said, you wrote it in a book, but I won't withhold that information if you were to ask me, and if I had time to talk about it. I wouldn't knowingly withhold that information from you for the sole purpose of making a profit. I just wouldn't do it, because I love this. And I feel like if I give you a taste anyway, you're going to want to know more. And that means I get to talk about it more. And that means I get to bounce thoughts on, off of people that may know different things than me. And that's how you grow. Because if you stay in your little box and you think you're the only one who knows, by the way, this is my breadless sandwich. Kind of doing a little bit of a keto thing with my girlfriend right now. But anyway, if you box yourself in with just your knowledge and you think you're the only one and that you have got the right answer, everybody needs to pay for you, usually you'll probably find out that you're fucking full of bullshit and you're absolutely wrong. And then people will expose you for that. And then that damages what you ever had, any credibility. And again, that hurts you. When instead you could have been honest, you could have been upfront, you could have been opening and continuously looking for the right answers and getting people comfortable with you because you're being upfront with them and you are in a sense caring about them, and then your credibility never will get hurt because you're not being a bad person, and so therefore you got that selfish interest. And that's the selfish interest of being honest. That's the selfish interest of taking care of people, because then it's not going to backfire on you, and you won't burn a bridge, and you won't destroy a career because you decided to be a scandalous piece of shit, you know? But anyway, that's it for me, guys. Again, this is Mike and Machine, the fitness anarchist. Information should always be honest and free of charge, guys. But stay strong, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay happy. Peace out.